That Park Place. Exclusive new details on Disneyland expansion reveal hidden timeline, local tensions, and the long-term battle over Harbor Boulevard. This by Marvin Montenaro, June 6, 2025. Disneyland Resort is officially entering a new era of expansion. This week, the Disney Parks blog released long-anticipated details about a multi-year expansion effort that will bring new attractions, a major infrastructure overhaul, and the groundwork for further growth in the years ahead. The announcement confirmed a new parking structure and pedestrian bridge on the east side of the resort, placement of a Coco-themed attraction coming to Disney California Adventure, and newly revealed details surrounding Bob Iger's long-promised Avatar destination now replacing part of Hollywood Land. You can see that hero image right here on Disney Parks blog, though. This is some big news, folks. This is absolutely huge. For Disneyland Resort, this is massive, okay? This is probably the biggest infrastructure and expansion that the resort has seen since, 2001 with the debut of the Disneyland Resort. That's when they added Downtown Disney, the Mickey and Friends parking structure with 10,000 spaces, and of course, the new park in Disney California Adventure. Now, it's not quite that big, obviously, but it is probably the largest since. And even though Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was very transformative for Disneyland in particular, the resort changed relatively very little outside of the Pixar Palace parking structure opening alongside Mickey and Friends parking structure. Big news right here. But while Disney's blog post provided a surface-level overview, That Park Place can now share exclusive insider information from sources close to the project's various design teams. Details that reveal what's coming and what will it take to get there, and why this phase of Disneyland Forward is more complicated than it might initially seem. Eastern Gateway resurfaces with a new approach. Much of what Disney announced this week echoes the goals of a prior initiative, the Eastern Gateway Project. Originally proposed in 2016, the plan called for a massive new parking structure on the east side of Harbor Boulevard, a pedestrian bridge spanning the roadway, and a new security perimeter leading directly into the resort esplanade. Now, I want to go ahead and show this part of my screen here for just a second, because I want to get people a lay of the land of what we're talking about right here. So I'm going to zoom out. You're going to see Disneyland in the north right here. If you can see my cursor, I know it's very small, folks. Sorry. And you're going to see Disney California Adventure to the south right here. If we zoom on in, we can see the area that is most important to us here for the purposes of this discussion. You can see, let's see, the transportation area right here. Buses coming here, they drop off. You can see the current rideshare drop off right here. There you go. That's the current rideshare drop off. You can see how very small that is, because at one time, this was the 15-minute parking lot, which was already very small for the resort's needs. But rideshare has just exploded in popularity and usage. This is extremely small and something that the resort has looked to overcome for like 10 years. I mean, ever since the Eastern Gateway project was announced. So that needs to change. And this area of this transportation network sits right alongside Hollywood Land. So the biggest inhibitor to growth in this area has been that transportation network. And if they could only relocate it, well, the Eastern Gateway called for it back in the day. It was going to be relocated right here. In fact, I believe I have the original plans to show this. Yes, this is the Eastern Gateway project as they filed with the city council originally back 10 years ago. And you can see right here where this new transportation area would be on this plot of land and where that security area will be. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is kind of where that sits. Disney's held this land for a long time for this purpose. They paid property taxes on every single year in order to maintain this land, in order to build on it. And they just haven't been able to because, well, the city council and the businesses have just really put the kibosh on all of that, which we'll also get into. But when we started hearing about Coco and Avatar and where they might actually be, it's like, look, if you're going to put it in Hollywood Land, which it looks like Avatar is going in this section as revealed by Disney Parks blog, you have to relocate this transportation network. And to relocate the transportation network, you got to build that structure. So for every day they don't move on that structure, they don't move on anything else relating to this area either. Well, now finally that's changing. It's going to be about a year still to wait, but at least it's changing sooner rather than later. Much of what Disney announced this week echoes the prior initiative Eastern Gateway. The project was canceled in 2017 after major opposition from Harbor Boulevard businesses who argue that the bridge would bypass foot traffic to their shops and hotels, cutting them off from the resort's foot traffic. For years, the land in the plans sat dormant. Now, under the umbrella of Disneyland Forward, the expansion project has reemerged with key changes to avoid past pitfalls. And I love how, Marvin, you incorporated an old video showing off some of these plans right here, because I think it's so incredibly important. If you see, I believe it's this plan right here, you can kind of see the approach that people would have to actually make off Harbor Boulevard in order to make their way into Disneyland Resort. See, previously, if I could show you this, you were able just to walk across Harbor, just along that crosswalk right there, which is direct access. But the city is like, look, listen, we're going to do this. We got to get these people off Harbor Boulevard. It's taking up traffic, and obviously you have pedestrians who put themselves in danger right there. There have been a number of incidents that have taken place along Harbor Boulevard because of all this. So it's like, okay, let's get them off. Eastern Gateway was like, okay, let's have them go all the way here. This was the walk, folks, to get to Disneyland. Okay,
it's insane. It's an insane walk. When I watched this video, I was shocked that they wanted this. Then again, this is the company that has that Fly Island in the Caribbean where you have to walk for like half a mile.
That's a fair point.
Done.
That's a fair point indeed. But
you can tell it's Disney and not Universal because there's like no shade. All those trees are tiny, like you're getting coated in the sun.
It's
still going.
We're still going. If you stay at the Howard Johnson, just north of this area, I mean, you've just tripled, quadrupled even your walk to get into Disneyland. That's right next door. It's absolutely insane.
Can someone please edit in some elevator music or something, please?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't have any elevator music with me right now, but you can see right here, and that's to get you through the security point, right? The reason why this walk is so long is because they have to get you through security first and then get you over to a bridge that just leads to the Esplanade and nowhere else. You're in the security bubble at that point. This was part of a new security complex that they would have opened up and so forth. And then when you actually get to the walking bridge, you can see that you have to walk even further to get across Harbor and to get to Disneyland. There were good parts about this plan, and there were very bad parts about this plan. One of those being that huge, tremendous walk that people staying at the Howard Johnson or staying at any of the other hotels on this end would have to incur. You'd have to literally walk all the way down. And then as soon as you get here, that's where you get that visualization. You have to walk through here, walk around, and that's it. And the businesses gathered together. They were like, look, listen, that ain't going to happen on our watch because all that foot traffic would essentially be null and void, especially for like IHOP over there and some of the others. If people are walking from the south to this area, everything would be bypassed here.
And I've seen that IHOP. It is 24 hours, and that would hit a lot of their pockets. Sorry, I've seen that one in person, and it had a really snazzy roof. I just had to bring mention to that. Continue.
No, absolutely. I mean, this would have absolutely altered all of that foot traffic right there. And they banded together and they said, this is not going to happen. And so these plans were canceled in 2017. But now we're changing just a little bit here. Under the umbrella of Disneyland Forward, the expansion project has reemerged with key changes to avoid past pitfalls. According to concept art released by Disney and analysis from that Parkplace sources, the security perimeter in the new version will begin on the Disneyland side of Harbor Boulevard, not on the parking structure side. And this change means that foot traffic from harbor area hotels and businesses will still be able to enter the security area without being forced to go through the structure. It's a crucial adjustment aimed at gaining public support and avoiding the litigation that doomed the original Eastern Gateway. We can see right here, it's kind of small, but in this circled area right here, you can see that there is kind of a entrance kind of facility under some shade. That right there is the security entrance. And you can also see how people can disembark from that bridge or go up onto it from the Disneyland side. That was never a thing back in the day.
Why didn't they have just thought about that and included that from the get-go? It seems like such a logical step to take and a thing that you, as a part of this community, as a part of this local economy, you would just think to do, but not Disney, apparently.
Back in the day, this era of Disney and Disneyland specifically, I mean, the FBI characterized it in their report when investigating the area. I mean, they talked about how it was like a cabal, I believe were the actual words used in the FBI report right there. I mean, they would push their weight around like crazy. And I mean, they were super aggressive. I remember when they wanted to initiate attacks on Disneyland park tickets themselves. I mean, Disney aggressively attempted to derail that effort right there, doing all kinds of things that were, well, not very flattering for the company. And that completely changed under Josh Giamaro. Josh Giamaro, when he came in, this is one of the reasons why I think Bob Iger actually cites it as a reason why he really took a keen interest in Josh Giamaro himself, was when Josh Giamaro was made the president of the Disneyland Resort all the way back then, before he was even the president of Walt Disney World or chairman of the parks. He took a different tact. And he was like, look, listen, let's go ahead and stop all this stuff. I believe he also said, we're not going to be taking any subsidies from the city of Anaheim anymore. We're going to be working with the community, not against them. You know, it was a very different tact taken than his predecessor, I believe, Michael Calglazier at the time. And that's what put him on the map. And Iger's like, you know what? I'm impressed. Over this whole thing, by the way, and this relationship with the city of Anaheim and all of that, and the dealings that they would do and the influence that they would have on the council and all of that, they actually barred the LA Times from their Hollywood premieres for a certain period of time because of the coverage that they actually had detailing this whole information and all of that. I mean, it was a very tumultuous time. And all of the media organizations were like, no, and they eventually relented. But it was contentious for sure. Disney's announced plans. In their June 5th blog post, Disney confirmed several new developments. A new 6,000 space parking structure and transportation hub. Disney will build a brand new parking structure on the current Manchester cast member parking lot east of the resort. This facility will add approximately 6,000 spaces and feature areas for shuttles and rideshare drop-offs, the latter of which is crucial in fulfilling the modern needs of the hundreds of cast members and the thousands of guests now utilize drive-share options to visit the resort. Most significantly, the plan includes a pedestrian bridge over Harbor Boulevard, and it's a key piece of infrastructure that will lead directly into a redesigned esplanade between Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure. The project is scheduled to break ground in 2026. And you can see that right here in this concept. It's now a sweeping bridge, and like we said before, has access on both ends. I think it's actually a much better design, frankly, than the old utilitarian bridge. I do like how it sweeps and so forth. It's really, really cool. And hey, we have like a reference to the old Disneyland sign that used to exist back in the day outside. That's pretty cool. Guys, your thoughts on at least this initial part of the plan?
I mean, I like the bridge. I think it's good. I think this is going to make things a lot more convenient for a lot of people while also being fair to the local economy. I would love to see theming on the bridge. Like, I would love it if they put like character pictures on the bridge and, you know, like the kind of stuff that they would have done like, 10, 15 years ago, which, who knows if they're ever going to actually do that. By that, I mean, think of guests and the experience. But yeah, no, this seems like a good thing. They're finally doing the right thing. And as we're going to go into a little bit later, I'm sure they're trying to catch flies with honey when it comes to the local area and the government. They're being a lot more nicey nice, a lot more hey buddy. So
a lot more hey buddy indeed. That's for sure. Timing is everything, and Disney knows it. According to internal sources, the resort is working under a narrow political window for this Disneyland expansion. The current city council is reportedly seen as favorable on the project's approvals, so Disney is pushing hard to begin construction on the parking structure and bridge before any major turnover occurs. However, the company still faces potential obstacles. Easement issues or legal challenges from local businesses remain a concern. To mitigate that risk, Disney appears to be shifting its public posture. Now, this is something not at all featured in that Disney Parks blog post. A new tone will Harbor Boulevard businesses. Rather than repeat the adversarial approach that helped sink the Eastern Gateway project years ago, Disney is reportedly now opting for collaboration. Sources tell that Park Place that the company is considering offering grants or subsidies to Harbor Boulevard hotels and businesses to help unify the area's aesthetic, similar to how Downtown Disney presents a cohesive design. The goal is to install uniform lighting, signage, and landscaping to create a more welcoming arrival corridor. Internally, the idea has been described as crafting a, quote, Downtown Disney East along Harbor Boulevard, something that benefits both Disney and its neighbors. That's pretty cool.
That's neat. I like that. I like the idea because when you bring that Disney like style to Harbor Boulevard, it makes Harbor Boulevard more of a destination. So basically now it's almost like these places are being welcomed into Downtown Disney without having to do anything. I think this is a much better way of doing things than the way they previously did things.
Yes, let's bypass it. No, let's work with them and actually incorporate them into the plans.
Was it Chapek that was basically like the kingpin? Like running the parks like that, or
maybe there was some input on there, but I heard it was Michael Cloud Glazer. He was just like, you know what? This is how this is going to run. We're Disney. Like, we could just do whatever we want. And that mindset scuttled the plans for the 4th resort hotel that we were supposed to get. And around the same time the Eastern Gateway project was announced, they announced a 4th Disney hotel. Now, it was very ugly, and it was kind of like shoved into a place that really didn't fit it. But the idea was to take advantage of this subsidy that Anaheim had put out to all hotel proprietors. Hey, look, listen, if you build a new hotel tower, we'll give you a massive tax break. And Disney was like, oh, me. And it was like, we didn't really envision you to take advantage of this opportunity, but okay. And Disney was so aggressive with everything during around this time that the city said, okay, well, we're just going to cancel that subsidy. And it's like, what? It's like, well, you wanted to move this hotel 100 feet from your original filing, and we had to approve that. And we're just not going to approve it. And that's what canceled the project. It was literally 100 feet. And Disney's crazy aggressive tone that cut them from years and years worth of hotel revenue from a 4th hotel back in 2016, 2017. Whoops. That's how that cookie crumbles sometimes. Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug, as the old saying goes.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.